Welcome to another edition of Money Matters Boston TV. I'm Chuck Nilasek, and look at this. We're at Stockholders Restaurant in Weymouth, Massachusetts again. Joining me now is Alice Cook, Boston TV sports legend, and thanks for coming on the show with us today.
Oh, you're so welcome. Legend, like Larry Legend?
I guess so.
Wow.
I mean, you know, we're so happy to have you on the program because I know you have your finger on the pulse of what's going on in New England. But first, before I get into some of the things we're going to be working on with you, let's talk about your little business that you've been developing called She's Game. And you're working with some, you know, some people that are good friends of yours, colleagues. Tell me a little bit about what that endeavor is.
Well, I'll tell you, I started thinking about this long before I left my other job for about 10 years. I started at Channel 4, WBZ, in the 80s when, you know, female sports reporters really were not really out there in huge numbers, and neither was a female sports fan. And then I noticed in the 90s, as you know, time went on, it's like, wow, women are coming to me. You see the pink hats, and they're showing up at the games, and I'm hearing women talk about sports more and more. And then boom, you know, right around the same time Tom Brady got to town.
Okay, coincidence?
It was like, but women, I found, not just in Boston, but anywhere I traveled, really were coming into a league of their own, so to speak. You know, this rise of the female fan. And what I thought to myself, is like, I would love to do something, you know, for women. I think it would be so much fun to, you know, get together with my female sports colleagues, put together a football show. So in the beginning, it was going to be a football show. And once I got introduced to my business partners, they said, no, much bigger than a football show. You need a website, you need a mobile app, you know, we have a broadcast opportunity, radio, the whole thing. So we're multi-platform now. We're building our business. The feedback has been phenomenal. And you know, people say, well, what's the difference between, you know, a sports website for women and a male website? And it's really, if you're an avid fan, not much. We're still going to have all the information. We're going to have all the scores. But what I've discovered through the years, not just as a sports reporter, but as a mom and talking to so many women, is they love the backstory. It's the whole Olympics thing. Behind every great athlete, there's a million great stories, and we want to tell those stories. The stories about, you know, beating the odds, or who inspired you, or what woman in your life, be it your grandmother, your aunt, or whoever the player's woman figure in their life is. We want to tell that story, and everyone's got one. So there's that. You know, it's really, you know, finding, and you're right, it's not so provincial anymore because of social media, and it's also not so provincial because we have networks now that understand the female fans out there, and they're building storylines. When we watch football games, especially football, because there's only so many a year, it's like reality TV. They build a story going into that game, especially the primetime games. NBC does a great job of it. And you know, by the time, you know, they kick off the football, you know what the storyline is. And it really is a drama. And the players, you're right, they cross over. They're not just athletes anymore. You know, they're celebrities, and they're like movie stars in many ways. And you know, they make the big money, and they're out there and they're interesting, and people are curious about what they're really like off the court and off the field. So that's what we're all about.
Well, you think I'm bringing you on just to promote a website. You're wrong if you think we're just doing that, because Alice is going to be joining our team and bringing some of these stories to life. And you know, so many things of what you see and what you do in that pursuit, and just in general in your experience, you know, lends itself to sort of the inspirational stories that we want to bring on our TV projects that we're working on together. And I'm real excited about that. And you know, I guess I'm going to put you right on camera to say if you're excited about it too. What do you think?
I am thrilled, Chuck.
It's going to be a lot of fun, right? Yeah, absolutely.
It's really, this is all part of my dream too. So much of sports that,
I'm part of a dream. You hear her say that right there.
The concept.
Oh, okay.
But you know, we want to, you know, what is wrong with showing athletes in a positive light? And so much of this, and I hate to go back to Rick Pitino, but way back when, he was the guy that says, this is the fellowship of the miserable. And,
negativity,
you know, people,
sucks.
Well,
that's what he said.
He did. And you know,
that's the name of the show. Negativity sucks. Rick Pitino. We'll get it on T-shirts.
Oh my gosh, we're doing the opposite of that. But I think that, you know, especially in local news, there's only so much time. They have to tell the stories of the day with the athletes. They have to, you know, they have to get into the game stories. They have to get into the news stories, so to speak. And this will be an opportunity really to be able to branch out and take a deep breath and show. And it doesn't have to be the professional athlete. It can be anyone in the field, a high school athlete, a man on the street, whatever, there are great stories. You know, whether you're running the Boston Marathon for the first time, or there's a story I'm thinking about, an orphanage in New Hampshire that's run by nuns that go running with their little kids every day to teach them life lessons. I love stories like that. So, you know, it's going to be thrilling for me to really be able to tell those stories and to inspire people and to have people say, hey, I want to share that and I want to talk about that.
Well, the mosaic of colors here in New England is amazing. That's why we choose to live here, and I think the stories, they will amaze people, they will inspire people, and I think that's why I'm real excited about this. And I want to thank you for coming on today, but also you know, letting our audience have a little taste of what you're going to do onward with us. And thank you so much, Alice.
You're so welcome. Remember, it's more than a game. It's a lifestyle.
And she did say I was part of her dream. So you heard her say it. All right, we'll take a break. We'll be right back with more from Stockholders Restaurant in Weymouth, Massachusetts in just a minute.
Peace of mind. Everyone wants it. Few people find it in today's uncertain economic times. Ross Mortgage understands that finding the right mortgage can be stressful. That's why we created programs like Custom Closing to save you time and give you the peace of mind so you can concentrate on the things that matter the most to you and your family. We'll walk you through every step to assure satisfaction. You can be confident that we'll close your loan on time, every time, guaranteed.
Ross Mortgage. Allow us to show you the way home.
Are your investments in CDs and money markets returning less than you expected? There is a better way. Get a structured settlement transfer from SHP Financial and start earning better rates right away. Learn more by calling SHP Financial at 508-591-5070, and we will send you a free buyer's guide on this exclusive opportunity. Call now and you will be added to our email newsletter, where actual cases on the market currently are sent to you instantly. SHP Financial, 508-591-5070.
Welcome back to Money Matters Boston, and sitting alongside of me from Ross Mortgage, we have Rob Gallagher here, and from SHP Financial, Matthew Peck. Guys, thanks for coming on the program.
It's my pleasure. Thanks, Chuck.
I want to ask you a question, Rob. Let's get right into the housing market specifically. What I'm understanding is that things are getting a little better, but for who? I mean, I hear people are having a difficult time trying to get a house, and you know, is the market really improving that much to make that much of a difference?
It is. It's improving for everybody. It's improving for sellers because prices are starting to go up, and it's good for buyers because it's still very low rates and relatively low prices.
Now, Matt, the real estate market is sort of one of those indicators of how the economy is doing. I mean, what are you seeing? Do you look at that as an indicator of how good things are going? Or?
Absolutely. I do think there's certainly stability, and I think stability is obviously extremely important. But also, too, is the fact that if the perception is back, if the perception that the real estate market is back and that there isn't any bottom anymore, that emotional feeling, that emotional response is really also going to drive up prices and drive up the market.
You know, I see this when you talk about real estate and you talk about mortgages and you talk about building, how it's all interconnected. You have the unemployment issue affecting whether people can have get mortgages. If they don't have jobs, they're not going to be able to get a mortgage. If they're not having an income, they're not going to be able to, number one, buy a house, pay the property taxes in the town, contribute to Social Security. Every one of these things sort of you know, meshes together.
Right.
So it's hard to say which indicator is the one that we see as the, you know, major thermometer for the health and of the economy in the country.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, real estate is just so important, too, because it is, generally speaking, the individual's biggest nest egg.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, a majority of the people, their home really is their biggest asset. And so how that plays in their overall financial picture is extremely important.
All right, so Rob, can we say that mortgage rates are still at an all-time low right now? Is now still a good time? I know I ask you every time I see you.
They are. I mean, they're not exactly at an all-time low, but they're within 0.25% of an all-time low, so they're not bad at all. Historically speaking, they're still incredibly low.
And what's the difference, like when we talk about, you know, whether somebody should refinance or not, between like 0.5%, does it come out, you know, do the math real quick in your head, does it make that much of a difference?
If you owe, say, between $250,000 and say $350,000 or somewhere in that ballpark, if you're taking 3/4 off your rate, it's worth it. If you have a lower balance and a rate that's less than 0.5% different, then it really probably isn't worth it.
And Matt, that's real numbers when you're talking about what people can save when you help people invest their money, things like that. They can take that money, those savings, and either contribute to their retirement or maybe search for a higher rate on something. I know you do structured settlements, you do all sorts of things, and when it comes to investments, you could probably do better than what the mortgages are paying for.
Oh,
right now.
absolutely. I mean, and that's a big issue. But most importantly, too, that I point to is the fact that the mortgage, especially when you can refinance it, truly becomes a fixed cost. And then hopefully your wages and hopefully your investments and hopefully everything else is really outperforming that, because if you can control one major cost in your budget, then you can free up cash for additional investments and additional savings. So when you lock in, such as with the 30-year fixed or whatever it may be, you can budget that, you can plan with that, and then hopefully grow your other savings and your other investments.
All right, we're coming up towards the spring. Let's cross our fingers. The groundhog, I think, saw its shadow. I don't know the history of what occurred in Groundhog's Day, but spring is coming, whether he saw it or not. People are going to start to put their homes on the market. Schools get out. Are there any tips that you can give people on making that transition if they're looking to sell a house or buy a house at this particular point?
Right now would be a great time to sell. We're seeing right now a very large shortage in inventory. 6 to 12 months ago, you had a lot of people that were selling and nobody that wanted to buy. Now you see the opposite being true. We're seeing houses sell the day they go on the market, in a lot of cases over asking price with multiple offers. Wow,
and then I think you're seeing it too. It's like people are in that transition phase of being in a house that's way too big, and maybe they're empty nesters. Their kids have gone off to college or have gone off and got married. Mm-hmm. Now they want to downsize. I think your parents even did the same thing,
Absolutely.
right? They're looking for a smaller piece of property. A lot of people, the baby boomers, they're going to start doing this. A lot.
Absolutely. Downsizing is an extremely big driver of the market moving, but also too, Massachusetts and New England is generally a very desirable place to live. So you have a lot of people that are also moving in and looking for that next sort of place to lay their head.
Well, Matthew Peck is one of the principals at SHP Financial. You can find him at shpfinancial.com, as well as one of the hosts of Money Matters. Actually, it's the Roadmap to Wealth on WBZ every Saturday night at 9 p.m. So check that out. Set yours. Is there an equivalent to a radio DVR? You set
the dial.
We'll put it on the website. We'll put the the shows up there.
Absolutely.
And Rob Gallagher from Ross Mortgage. The website for people to check you out is what?
RossMortgageCo.com.
And they can go and get any information that they need about your firm there?
They can.
And we also run your spots on our show each and every week. And once again, now is the time to list your house or get that going, but it's always still a good time to refinance if all the pieces are going to fall into place, right?
Absolutely.
All right, two great financial minds on the program here. That's what we do on Money Matters Boston. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back with more of the program in just a minute.
Are your investments in CDs and money markets returning less than you expected? There is a better way. Get a structured settlement transfer from SHP Financial and start earning better rates right away. Learn more by calling SHP Financial at 508-591-5070, and we will send you a free buyer's guide on this exclusive opportunity. Call now and you will be added to our email newsletter, where actual cases on the market currently are sent to you instantly. SHP Financial, 508-591-5070.
This segment of Money Matters Boston is brought to you by Ross Mortgage Company.
Welcome back. Well, whenever I have an estate planning question or anything having to do with legal matters, who do I turn to? Well, Denise Ouellet from the law firm of Cody & Cody. Denise, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Well, the last time we talked, often talk about milestones in people's life, and inevitably long-term care issues come up, and specifically mass health issues. Now, I know that we're going to, a lot of people are confused over mass health eligibilities. Can you give me a little insight on what all that means?
Sure. So you're absolutely right that that's a huge milestone, and that's one that people tend to actually come back in to review their estate plans, because they recognize that their colleagues or friends are facing these issues, and you do need an estate planning attorney to help you through this phase in life. With mass health, it's very specific eligibility requirements that you have to meet if you want to qualify to get benefits. It's similar. It's not that dissimilar from applying for welfare benefits, in that you have to reach a poverty level. So they ask that you have only $2,000 in your name. You can have $1,500 in a burial account to be used for burial expenses. You can prepay your funeral. There are other ways that you can spend money to reach that poverty level, essentially, and that's one of the main reasons you want to come and see an attorney, because there are some ways that you can use your money that would benefit you rather than just giving it away or spending it on a nursing home, and which is obviously very expensive.
And let me be clear to our audience, because we air in a bunch of different states. When we talk about Mass Health, we're talking about the Massachusetts program, but it's Medicaid,
It's
right?
Medicaid, right. It's federally known as Medicaid. In Massachusetts, it's Mass Health. It receives both federal and state monies to operate, but it's primarily controlled by Massachusetts. There are a set of regulations that we have to follow in order to get people to qualify.
And I know this whole eligibility thing can sometimes give people like a ice cream headache, you know, the amount of information that goes in. But I do want to say we have a cheat sheet that we're going to make available that will let people know at the end of the segment on where they can get this. But there is so much to it, Denise.
Right,
I mean, it's so hard to keep track of it all.
And I think it's a really emotional time in people's lives when they're even thinking about having to go into a nursing home. We've talked about this before. There are some people that come in that need to go to a nursing home tomorrow and are looking at paying $12,000, $13,000 a month to be there. So emotions run high, and me as the attorney am trying to give a lot of information. It's very detailed and it's very specific and it's very numbers driven, and you have to pull together a lot of financial information to apply. So it's nice that it's condensed here, because this basically summarizes everything that you really at least need to know to get started to get your application going.
And it's, you know, it's very emotional, as you said, but add to the emotion that you might have 4 siblings, you know, 3 daughters and a son that are coming from different parts of the country that are going to meet in your conference room. That's got to be a typhoon of tears and emotions and stresses and arguments.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of family emotions and turmoil that surface around that time, because inevitably there's one child that took care of mom and dad more because they were just closer, it was easier, and there all sorts of hostility starts to brew up in that situation. But one thing I did want to mention is that I wouldn't want people to watch the show and think that it's only about getting benefits if you're in a nursing home. There are actually a lot of different types of benefits that you can receive, and a lot of them are for in-home care. So if you do have a son or a child that would want you to live in their house but needs to work and support his or her own family, there are different types of benefits that you can qualify for. And that, again, is a good reason to come in and see an attorney and see what else is out there.
Well, I think people have to recognize the fact that, you know, everyone says it's not going to happen to them, or, you know, it's not me, it's always somebody else. But when it comes right down to it, we need to control the things that we can control and accept the things that we can't. And I would guess, if it was me, that I would want to control more of an environment where I'm in my own home or around my loved ones, and that requires extra kind of planning, doesn't it?
It does, and if you do your planning early, the most important point I can make about long-term care planning is doing it early. You have so many more options available to you in terms of protecting assets, and if you do it early, you get past there's a 5-year look-back period for making any transfers. If you get past that window, and then you're at a point where you do need a facility, or you want to stay at home and get benefits, you could qualify and have protected assets beforehand. So it's smart to do it early.
Well, Denise, like I said earlier, I want to give out this cheat sheet. We have this all written down for you on a nice, easy to understand piece of paper here, and you can get this by going onto the website codyandcody.com, cody-cody.com, and we'll put that up there for you. But it's really easy to understand, and thank you so much for making hay of some of this craziness that's out there. And I'm sure we'll call on you again with the next legal question that I have.
Great.
Well, I want to thank Denise Ouellet from the law firm of Cody and Cody for taking some time with us. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with more in just a minute.
Peace of mind. Everyone wants it. Few people find it in today's uncertain economic times. Ross Mortgage understands that finding the right mortgage can be stressful. That's why we created programs like Custom Closing to save you time and give you the peace of mind so you can concentrate on the things that matter the most to you and your family. We'll walk you through every step to assure satisfaction. You can be confident that we'll close your loan on time, every time, guaranteed.
Ross Mortgage. Allow us to show you the way home.
This segment of Money Matters Boston is brought to you by SHP Financial.
Welcome back, and of course, every once in a while, I get the need to have these two on together to really get the show ratings up. When the ratings are low, I bring on Joe Malone
Which, of course,
and Steve Sweeney. They're never low. That's because I know exactly when to put you guys on.
Yep.
And then I let the audience wait a little bit, and then they get another dose of you, and I keep them up.
It's called suspense and then breaking the suspense.
Yep.
With this kind of riveting television.
And you know, also it carries over to the airwaves. You guys host a radio show together on WATD on the South Shore. It's called
Sweeney and Malone. No, Sweeney and Malone.
Oh, Sweeney and Malone.
A lot of people at first thought it was a mortuary, you know, a funeral parlor.
No?
Sweeney and Malone is not a funeral parlor. It's a beautiful radio show, Tuesday night, 6:15 a.m.
It sounds like a St. Patrick's Day carol. Sweeney and Malone.
That's true.
There he was, Sweeney and Malone.
Yeah.
All right, listen, when are you going to start asking me questions?
All right, well, I know that you just got off that cruise ship, the Carnival Cruise. You saw that whole mess go down. You were performing comedy. People were going to the bathroom in the corner. You were on that cruise, right? Or is it you're going on another one?
No, listen. I'm doing Royal Caribbean.
Ooh, that's
Carnival, listen, folks, it's...
Yeah. Have you been on the Carnival?
Let me just put it this way to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so low end, they have a Walmart.
And I guess I'm just ensured that we're not going to do a sponsorship.
Are you going to step on all of my jokes?
I'm going to just at least, I got to pay the bills.
Shutting up. I'm just shutting
go
up.
Ahead. I'm sorry.
They have a Walmart's on Carnival. They have a dollar store.
Now you need my help.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
So anyway, I am here with the great Joe Malone because Joe is actually Italian.
Yes, Sicilian.
He's
even
Sicilian.
Better, even better.
But I am just back from Rome. It looks like I may be the next pope. I'm announcing it on your show.
Whoa.
Yeah, this is big. This is big.
Hold the phone.
Let me just say this.
You told me you're running for Senate.
I know.
That's right.
What are you doing? You can't run for Pope and Senate at the same time.
Forget about that. I can double dip. But here's the thing. The hat, I got the hat size. I'm going to wear the hat. I got the slippers. I got the Pope mobile. What I'm going to bring back, Joe, and you grew up a Catholic, I am bringing back, ladies and gentlemen.
You weren't a Catholic and you want to be the Pope?
No. Joe and I understand this growing up.
You assistant Pope?
No,
No. He's a Catholic. He's a Catholic.
I'm going to address you people out there because Chuck's not listening. I am bringing back, ladies and gentlemen, as the Pope, two places that no longer exist, like the lost continent of Atlantis. They're called Purgatory and Limbo. You remember those places?
Sure, yeah.
Kind of a Malden Everett feel.
Yeah, right
now,
between
Limbo,
hell.
Right. Now, Limbo, your soul, it's like the NASA program. No one ever understood Limbo. Your soul's floating around. Now, Purgatory, Chuck, which I see you going to, this is what happens. You die.
You get paid for purgatory.
Right. You die. God says, look, I'm looking over your record. Let's face it, you were a jerk. But I am not sending you to Lynn to burn the rest of your life. You're going to stay in Malden, and that's going to be it. I'm also bringing back sin. Let's have more sin, Joe.
Well, you know, Steve, here's the way
venial sin, mortal sin.
Here's the way I look at it.
Yes.
If you have a shot at U.S. Senate, and there's talk about you running as an independent or Pope, you have no shot at the Pope thing, Steve. And I don't want to discourage you, you know, because I believe in dreaming big dreams, but you're barely a Catholic. I mean, I see the way you live your life. You know what I mean? You're with a different woman every night on your arm, my man.
This is the new church.
Yeah, but you know what?
This is the new theology.
Secondly, I mean, when you look at all the other people who, the politics they play with the papal thing, don't do it. Stick with Sweeney and Malone, run for the Senate, and I think you got a good shot.
Right, I feel something channeling through me. I am running for the U.S. Senate. I want to talk about something.
Yeah, that works.
So you're a Senate medium.
You become the reincarnation of Senator Kennedy.
Yes, that's right. I want to talk about Chuck and stockholders.
Yeah.
But anyway.
It's the people's seat, just to let you know.
Yeah.
It's the what?
The people's seat.
Yeah.
I'm just reminding you so you don't think you own it just because you got the impression.
My father used to say in our house.
The people's seat?
When we'd all be rushing to the toilet, he'd say, it's the people's seat.
All right. Yes, well, does he have a chance?
No, he does.
What party is he running with?
Listen, this is a time. This is a time when voters are turned off by both Republicans and Democrats. Sweeney gets in there in the middle, but the key is he would have to be honest. He can't go in there and just be another politician. So let me try this.
All right.
Okay.
Sweeney.
Yes.
There's people, they go down there and they say one thing when they're running for office, but then they get down there and they do something totally different. I will tell
you the exact truth because I have fallen over the fiscal cliff. I've already gone over there. I am going to kick the can down the road. When was the last time you saw someone kicking a can down the road? And I'm going to say at the end of the day, at every sentence, I'm going to say quite frankly, and every dime of the money that sent it to my campaign is going right into my pocket. I am going to buy a nice car. I'm going to get suits.
He's an honest guy.
I want to get a nice pool.
You know, all your work you've done in the charities. I know the irritable bowel syndrome. You've been a big supporter of that.
And you already mentioned the friendship
home. Stevie's been a huge
You're not comparing the two charities.
I have a place. It's called the Animosity Home. You come in, we slap you around. It's called also a dungeon. It's a lot of bondage involved.
I went there in
I'm going to put
I went there
your show.
Stevie, what about junkets? You know, will you take junkets?
That's all I'll take.
What, all right?
Every dime.
So at the taxpayers' expense, you're going to travel the world.
I'm going to have such a great, and I'm going to laugh my ass off at every fool that votes for me.
All right, when the cameras go off, you can tune into the Sweeney and Malone show every Tuesday night on WATD.
ATD, what's the numbers?
95.9, 6:15, 8 p.m. on Tuesday night.
Assuming no girls JV basketball that night, right?
That's correct,
okay,
And also, too, I will sing on that show. Steve will tell you, when I sing, the ratings go through the roof. Absolutely fabulous.
One part of Zero Dark 30, it shows the prisoners who gave the information about Osama bin Laden, and they finally gave it up when Joe sang. They said, okay, I can't take anymore.
Steve was a former Navy SEAL, so he knows for absolute
What do you mean former?
Well, current Navy SEAL, but I mean,
what are you talking about?
Let me take us to break.
We'll be back.
Is for the way you look at me.
Money Matters Boston would like to thank Stockholders Steakhouse in Weymouth, Massachusetts for hosting this week's episode. Stockholders is an urban-style steakhouse offering the highest quality cuts of USDA beef cooked to order on a custom oak-fired grill. Feast on the unbeatable center-cut filet mignon or the signature 24-ounce bone-in cowboy ribeye. You'll also find the freshest pasta in seafood dishes such as the enormous Warren Buffett 2-pound baked stuffed lobster, the jumbo pan-seared scallops, or the amazing surf and turf. For a power lunch, business meeting, casual dinner, or just a cocktail, Stockholder Steakhouse is the South Shore destination for you.